So here we are for Monday night 9-ball Scotch doubles. This is a first round match. Just the 4 teams in it this week. And we've got Blackjagged and Stefan playing Chimpie and Larry. And Larry and Chimpie, of course, are 2 old virtual pool players. Larry we've seen quite a few times. Chimpie doesn't get to play online an awful lot now, but they are a very strong team. And the handicap, if you notice in the HUD, wait, I'll just show you. Team 1, who are Stefan and Blackjagged, they are getting the last 2 balls, so whatever the last 2 balls are on the table, that's their money balls. So it could be the 6 ball and a 9, the 5 and a 9, the 3 and a 9. And so if they can take advantage of that, they've got a good chance in this match, as long as they play clever and don't do anything silly. So we've got the 7 and the 6 tied up. So there's going to be a bit of work needed done in this rack, whoever's going to win it. I wonder if that was clean. Could he squeeze through there? Yeah, he could. Cue ball needs to go across to the left and back over to the right to have a shot in the 3. Well, at least Stefan can see the 3. And now we've got a cut down the rail. Now this cue ball is going to be coming across to the right hand side. I don't think it's going to hit them. It's spinning away the other way, but what we've got now is an angle on the 5 where Stefan certainly can go over for the 6, because I think that 6 will squeeze past the 7. Let's have a look. It looks like it. Oh dear. Stefan's missed a 5. Now this is a delicate shot here for Larry, because he's got to draw it back. He's played it well. Nice touch this time. Now does that 6 go past? I thought it did. Let's zoom in a bit closer. Yeah, it will go past. I think so. And he's got a nice little touch on the 8 there as well, just to hold for the 7. So this first rack is now over. Chimpie just needs to roll the 8 in. Larry's on the 9, no problems. Again, that miss 5 there by Stefan has been punished, and of course this is winner breaks. Remember, it's 9-ball Scotch double, so it's alternate shot. So Chimpie's passed to break to his partner. Larry's going to break. Well, that tactic didn't work this time. No balls in the break. And Blackjagged tried to tuck the cue ball behind those 2, the 4 and the 7 there, but he's failed on that, and this has let Chimpie and Larry in again. And those balls are all sitting there for the taking because none of them are tied up. Now that needs to run a bit. That's a bit weak. Now, well, I think that's a good guide, that 7 ball, because I think Larry can cut that 2 in, but he's not going to have any real control over the cue ball. And the 3 is tough. It does cut. Again, the cue ball's going to run into the 8, but that might actually do Larry a favour because it will kill the pace in the cue ball and might even hold it for a shot at that 4. Well, he's decided to go for the bank. Well, the bank goes in, and Larry's left with a shot on the 4. It's going into a blind pocket, but as long as he gets it tracking on a good line, there's a fair margin of error for it to go in as long as he gets the right pace. Too hard and it's going to rattle. And this is the crucial shot in the rack. I think that's finished a bit straight. Let's have a look. Well, he could go forward, he could try and just stop it. And he's just decided to draw back. So again, big margin of error here, just all about the pace, just get the cue ball off the end rail back up. And that's fine. So I haven't seen any weaknesses yet in these 2. So it looks like Stefan and Blackjagged are going to have their work cut out in this match. But they've just got to remember they've just got to get the last 2. So any mistakes that Chimpie and Larry make, they could easily pounce and the score can change very quickly. Well, Chimpie decided to break there, but it still didn't work out. But here's a chance. And this is a problem because the 3 is tied up with the 6 and the angle isn't there to get the cue ball over to disturb that. Do the wise thing here. Well, I don't know what Boris tried to do there. But they might find themselves in trouble in a minute. Larry's just going to try and tuck the cue ball down the far end of the table and use the 8 as the blocker. But as long as that 3 ball remains there next to the 6, then it's not all over. Well, Stefan tried to get the edge of the 2. I don't believe that was on, but again, they may well find themselves in trouble. Chimpie could go for the attempted 3 foul, but he's going to try and manufacture something here. Well, that was actually quite a good move because he's split the 6 and the 3, and he's also got Blackjagged hooked on the 2. He's managed to get the kick. How's his luck though? Well, that's okay. Again, Larry could use the 8 as a blocker here, just stop the 2 ball and the cue ball back up the far end of the table again. There's good cover. Well, he's played the softer shot, he's still got the block. Again, Stefan going to have to kick this, and that 4 ball is a bit of a hindrance, but he's got the kick. How's his luck as well here? Well, that's going to be cut in, no problem. And the cue ball's going to run up the table. Well, Chimpie's overcut it. And these pockets, they just aren't forgiven. If you just hit them offline into the pockets, they're not going to go in. Well, that's given Stefan a chance here. He can certainly cut the 3 in, but he needs to be careful with the in off here into the middle. And he's well overcut that, but might have got away with it. Again, Larry finds cover. So Boris and Stefan are in trouble again. And of course there's plenty of room round the 3 here. And looks as if he might be going for the jump stick. Well, I'm sure he would like to take that again. Not the best of jump shots. So it's now ball in hand, and I would expect Chimpie and Larry to run this table. I can't see any problems. The only issue would be the fact that now he's got a bit too much angle on this 5, so it's all about pace. Because the cue ball is going to be running one way or another. Well, that's a problem. That's a very, very thin cut, so he's probably looking more at the bank, I think, Larry. He prefers that, I think, to try and cutting this in, because again the cue ball's just going to be running all over the place. And I think he's got second prize. Stefan can just see an edge in this 6 ball. And he's playing this with inside English, so the cue ball's going to be running around the table as well. Yeah, that needs to keep going. It needs to keep going. That's a good shot. At least he's got the distance, and Chimpie, yeah, well, I think he can see an edge of it, but he's going to be jumping this. Well, that was a good effort, but here now is Blackjagged and Stefan's opportunity. So in goes the 6. A straightforward 7. And all that Blackjagged needs to do is just roll the 8 in, and they've got a rack on the board at last. And this is why the handicapping system does work, because there's no doubt that Chimpie and Larry are well favourites for this match. But again, anything that happens later on in the rack, Stefan and Blackjagged can pounce and can easily snatch racks. Well, I don't know whether that was an attempted pot or whether it was an attempted safe. I'll give Boris the benefit of the doubt there. Now, how does that look? Well, I think that that one ball may well cut, but it's really tough. And look where the two ball is, it's at the opposite end of the table. Well, in goes the one. And now the shot here for Blackjagged is just to thin the two along towards the six and get the cue ball back up this end of the table. That's the shot to play. But he's looking to play something else. He's knocked a six in, got the billiard, and he's got his partner on the two. Well, that was a much better idea. It certainly worked. Brave, but again, Stefan has let his partner down. That was a poor shot in the two. That was really bad. They had an excellent opportunity there to get another rack, and that's probably just gifted it to Chimpie and Larry, I'm afraid. And you cannot make mistakes when you're given those opportunities, and especially when you've manufactured a good shot to get yourself into that position. And now they're just going to have to sit and watch Chimpie and Larry run out this rack. And Stefan, from what we've seen so far, is the weakest link in the German team, because I'm sure Stefan's from Germany as well. Let me have a look. Yeah, so we've got two Germans, one Dutchman and one American. But Stefan really needs to get his game together here if he's going to be any good to his partner. So here's the only one that could be a problem. This was the angle's taking the cue ball away from the 9, so he needs to run around, and that is just a wee bit short. Still should get this. So in goes the 9, and that's one that got away there, I'm afraid. It's now 3-1 to Chimpie and Larry. And let's see if they can get any better luck in the break this time. And it doesn't look like it. And there's no shot here for Boris. And what does he see? Well, he's going thin off the 1, but I'm sure he's going to hit the 2, which he has done. And I think Larry will try and run this 2 ball onto the 5 to knock it in. Just looking at the angle that he has to hit the 2 with this 1 ball. In it goes, and in goes the 2, and the 1's gone up the table, but it's still potable. But here's the crucial shot, because the cue ball's going to be running into those balls in that right hand corner. The angle that Chimpie has to pot the 1. I wonder if he'll maybe try and bank it again. I don't think it matters because the cue ball's still going to be going over to the right. So the 4's been knocked over the right middle. Stefan rolls the 1 in, gets his partner on the 3. Now this is a rack that they really have to do the business on. They cannot make mistakes here if they're going to be competitive in this match. But again, Boris has let the cue ball run, and this is where you need to be a lot more accurate as well, because when you're leaving distance it just means that your partners get more to do with the cue ball as well to get you on the next shot. So again, we're playing at distance, and this is the problem, because we've now got Boris on the 6. I don't think he's got a problem potting the 6, but he needs to get the pace right in the cue ball to give Stefan the chance to get the 7-9 combo if that's what he's going for, and he's taking his eye off the shot, cut the 6 into the jaw, and the only saving grace is that the 8 ball's the blocker. But I still think Larry can get a bit of left hand spin in the cue ball and get right into that jaw and kick that 6 in. I don't see it being a problem. And he's played it well, and how's the cue ball? It looks perfect. I would settle for that any day. That was a good shot, well controlled. So again, it looks as if Stefan and Blackjagged are going to be punished. And this match could have been a lot closer had Stefan and Boris not made those errors, because they're going to get very few chances, if any, and whatever they do get, they've just got to stick them away. So Larry and Chimpie go into a 4-racks-to-1 lead, and we're still waiting a ball going in the break from what I've seen. Another dry break. 3 ball tied up with a 5 in the left there. And that's finished nice on the 2, but well, is there a slight angle there? Well, yes there is. So Boris can certainly move the cue ball, but he tried the combo in the 9. Where's the 9 going? It's going over the jaw. And that was a bit of a long shot attempting that, but Chimpie did the right thing, which a lot of players don't think about. The 3 balls tied up, he didn't have a shot in the 2, so he decided to play the deliberate foul, which was the right thing to do. Pot the 9 ball, stick it on the spot, and force Stefan and Blackjagged to do something themselves. And I don't think they've got a shot, have they? Oh yes, he did. Got him on the 3, that was a good shot. I didn't think that 3 would go, mind you, I never looked at it closely enough. Now, this is all about pace again. Cut the 5 in, and he's played it well, and a nice pace on the 6. Now, and again, there's a nice angle here just to follow through and come back up the table, but he's gone for the draw, and that's worked out okay. Now we're drawn back here, and this should be a rack for Stefan and Blackjagged. Roll the 8 in. Nice on the 9. Well, he didn't need the 9, I keep forgetting the handicap. Just needed the 8 ball. And again, they're not going to ball in the break either. And this time though, everything's in the open. And this could be a quick rack. Well, looking at the 6 was blocking the pocket, so Larry tried to stun across to at least give his partner a cut on the 2, and this is really tough. And the best that Larry's going to get after this is probably a combo with that 3 onto the 6. Yeah, it was a lot to ask that. Now Stefan can get a clean shot on the 2, he just needs to play this dead weight just to leave that 2 over the pocket once he knocks the 6 in. And that's fine. And this is a tough shot because the 2 being in the pocket more or less, Boris has to control the draw on this shot. Or is he going to try and use the jaw? Well, he's played the draw. It needs to keep going. It needs to come on out into the table. Well, in goes the 3, but unfortunately that kiss onto the 7 hasn't done Boris any good. He's got no shot in the 4. And this is even tough to try and work out a safety here. So he's got a double kiss. But he's left it for Larry. Oh, where's the cue ball going? That's okay. Thought he's maybe going to hook him behind the 7 there, but he's fine. And this is a bit straight, so Chimpie doesn't want to be doing far too much with the cue ball here. Yep. Larry just needs to roll the 7 in because his partner's going to be in the 8, no problem. He needs to watch the in off though, so he's probably going to draw this. So Larry's left with a 9 into the side pocket, and that will take Larry and Chimpie into a 5 racks to 2 lead. So it's Chimpie breaking off in the 8th rack. At some point, eventually. And again, we've got no ball in the break, and of course the guys are mentioning, I think Larry mentioned about rack money. When we say rack money, that means that instead of the 1 ball being on the spot, the rack's moved up the table so that the 9 ball, which sits in the middle of the rack, is actually sitting on the spot at the head of the triangle. And from what we've seen so far, that's certainly given the guys problems on the break. They're needing to looking at different ways of breaking to try and get a ball in the break, because nothing's going in. But Stefan and Blackjagged are at the table. He's got a combo cut back with this 3 onto the 8 if he wants to risk it. But he isn't keen. He's preferred the safety, which I think he's got. Let's have a look. Well, I think there's an edge of that 3 showing. Again, it might be a guide. Larry might be able to cut this in, or he might just look to... Yeah, it was a good guide, but of course he's now given his partner a problem because he's collided with the 9. Chimpie gets a good kick. Where's the 4 ball going? If it keeps going... Now, will that squeeze past the 9? Well, I don't think it will. I think he'd need to play this a dead weight shot for it to try and squeeze in, but he's made a right hash of that one, Boris. Well, there's a bad miss by Chimpie. But again, it's a chance for Stefan and Blackjagged. Now, how does he get his partner onto this 6 ball? This is anybody's guess what he's thinking here. Well, I think he tried to get him on the 6 in past that 8. Now that's a big pocket. If Boris can get this 6 slow enough and soft enough, it'll go in off the 8. Well, that's unlucky. Ended up hitting the 8 too thick and just killed the 6 ball. Well, Larry well, he must have thought he could just squeeze that in there, but clearly couldn't see enough of it. But it's another chance for Stefan and Boris, and they really need to get this in. They only need the 2 balls, so I'm going to give them this rack right now. Just needs to get the 7. Cue balls and they go on the end rail there for the 8. Now, so that gets another rack on the board. And if things had went differently early on in this match, this match score could be a lot different. So it could. So Larry and Chimpie still lead by 5 racks to 3. Now, how's the break going to work this time? Well, the 5 ball goes in. The 1 ball's on the right side, but it will cut. But no shot for Boris. That's a good cut though. But however, Stefan's got nothing on the 3. Well, that's not bad. He's got the kick, and more importantly, he's got the safe on the 3 ball. I don't think the 3 goes past the 4, does it? Let's look at it from that angle. No, that's too tight. And that's a good shot by Chimpie. How does the shot look from this side? Well, Boris can spin the cue ball. I don't know, he's going for the... He looks as if he's going for the long kick, but he could actually kick that off the side rail there. Just hit that first diamond. A lot of inside English and he could spin it, but he's gone for the 3, he's gone for the hit, he's got it. Stefan needs to watch he doesn't hit this 8 ball if he's going to hit this 3 thin. And he's managed to avoid the 8. And he's got one important thing, he's got good distance between the cue ball and the 3. But they might find themselves in trouble in a second or two, because I feel sure that Chimpie's going to try and tuck this cue ball behind that 9 and 6. And he needs to get a wee bit of spin in this if he's going to do that. So this is a delicate shot. Well, the 3 ball is in the open. And again, Blackjagged has an opportunity here to get a good cover. That's running a bit fast, but that's okay. Cue ball has got covered behind the 4, but Larry's going to resort to Old Faithful, out with the jump stick, and in goes the 3. Now that 6 and 9 aren't dead set, but it's easily manufactured into a combo in the 9, which it will be in a second or two. So in goes the 4, and Larry left with the 6-9 combo, but he's going to have to push this 6 ball to make this 9. I don't think he should have any problem getting this in. Oh dear, well, commentator's curse. So Stefan will be looking to play the billiard off the 6 onto the 9, just stun it in, and that's goes down as a mistake by Larry, and it gives Blackjagged and Stefan another rack in the board. Chimpie and Larry still lead by 5 racks to 4, and there might still be some life left in this match. Again, not a ball in the break. Well, Chimpie went full-blooded for the 1. He's missed it. Not only that, he's scratched, and it's cue ball in hand for Stefan. So, well, the obvious shot here would be get the cue ball behind the 1 and just push the 1 down here into the bottom right pocket. He needs to get a wee bit straighter than that. He doesn't want to be playing it at that angle. Well, he's decided to play the safe. Well, I don't know why, because they had I mean, the run out is there. Look at the balls. The balls are all sitting in the open, and he might live to regret that. I don't think he thought about that long enough, because that the run out was there. But as it is, Larry's got the kick in the one. He's got the ball safe. But I would have said that was not a good tactical manoeuvre there by Stefan. All the balls sitting in the open, and no confidence in his partner and himself to actually run the table. And you're sitting at 5-4. Now, how's the luck this time? Well, the one doesn't go because he can't see the potting angle, but he can certainly, he can thin it if he wanted off the right hand side, but he's just banking it, trying to use the 5 as cover, and he's got it. I'd still be asking my partner why he didn't go for the 1. 2 was there, 3 was over the left hand pocket, 4 goes into the same pocket as a 2, 5 goes into the bottom left. You know, that was just not good tactical play there. Okay, he got Larry snookered, but Larry's experienced enough to be able to get the kick sort of 9 times out of 10. Larry went for the tough 1, but he's got away with it as well. Now, Boris is trying to double this 1 up the table and spin the cue ball in behind the 2 and the 4, and he's managed to do that. Will Chimpie go for the jump shot again? I would say there's a fairly strong odds he will. And in goes the 1, and Larry's got a shot in the 2. Now here's the situation now for Larry and Chimpie, which the table's exactly the same as it was when Stefan played that snooker. And now let's see what Larry and Chimpie do in this situation, if they can run the table. And that's a bit weak. It's a bit short. It just makes the shot that bit more difficult for Larry to keep control of the cue ball. So he's played a little soft draw shot there, and that was well controlled. And this is a crucial shot in the rack, getting from the 5 to the 6. The 6 passes the 8 into that top right hand corner, and that's not hard enough. So there's still a chance here for Blackjagged and Stefan. Larry, I think, more or less is going to make his mind up and go for this shot down into the bottom right here. And that's went in clean as a whistle. That was a great shot. That dug him and his partner out of a hole there. But this one, even more pressure on it. And Chimpie's missed it, and again, crucially, it's just the 7 and the 8 that Stefan and Blackjagged need, and this is really tough to control because he's got a lot of power. He needs to get this cue ball up the table, and it needs to slow down. It's going to run too far. Oh, I wouldn't like this shot for a rack. Look at the angle he's got now. It cuts in, and Blackjagged just needs to go full-blooded for it, and he's got it, and that now ties the match up. Well, somehow they've managed to win the rack, but they could have won it a lot earlier if they were just confident enough to go for that run out, but it doesn't matter. They've got a ball in the break this time, but no shot in the one. But it's certainly a good opportunity for a safe here. Just thin that one. Try and tuck the cue ball behind the 7 if he can manage it. Or is he going for the bank? I mean, that 6 ball's a bit of a blocker though if he tries that. Well, it's a blocker, but it's also made the pocket bigger. And he managed to get it in, but again, no shot in the 2. That needs to keep going. Well, that's okay. Now there is a chance to try and tuck the cue ball behind that 6 and 7. I don't know what Larry's got in his thoughts. Well, I can't think he tried to play a combo there, surely. I don't know what he played. But nevertheless, I mean, the 2 will go in, no problem, but the main issue is getting onto the 3, so he's got to force this. And of course that's why he's now not only rattled the 2 in the pocket, but scratched the middle. But this is still not an easy table to run, because the problem again is just getting the cue ball over to this 3, and it only goes into one pocket. And with ball in hand, you should be able to manufacture an angle just to spin down the table and come out behind that 7. Well, he's played a draw shot, and again, that's got me totally flummoxed as to why he played that shot. I mean, I'm bewildered as to why he did that. I feel sure he could have got the cue ball down to the bottom of the table here to at least give Larry a shot in the 3 into that top right. I'm just bewildered about that one. So now Larry's got a 50-50 cross bank. Well, he gets the cross bank, and now this rack is now there for the taking. But Larry shouldn't have been playing the cross bank. There's no way that Chimpie played to leave him that shot. I can't believe he did. And now this is a wee bit awkward. There's always that little doubt when you're cutting past that 7. Suddenly the 7 becomes a much bigger ball when you're just trying to be careful. Well, in it goes clean, and now the crucial shot is getting out off the rail from that 8 ball. Well, he's left it dead straight, so Larry will just need to kill the cue ball where the 8 is and leave Chimpie that 9 into the top right, I would think. He won't be doing anything ambitious here, I would imagine. And Chimpie just needs to roll it in, and that will take Larry and Chimpie to the hill. They lead by 6 racks to 5 and just need one more. And let's see if their luck changes now finally on this break. Well, the balls are moving all over the place, but nothing's going in. But luckily Stefan's got no shot, and he'll just be looking to push. And if he pushes down to the bottom here, he's going to find himself in trouble in a second or two. And that wasn't a good push, because Chimpie's got good cover up at that top end of the table, and he can easily use the 4 as a stopper and send the cue ball off the side rail and round behind the 2 and the 6. And that was glaringly obvious to me, but has he left a space? I think he's left a gap. But that was evidence there of not a good thought out push shot by Stefan. I could see that coming a mile away. If he ever played the cue ball down at the bottom end here, that was what was going to happen. But he left a little gap. I mean, where's the one ball going? Well, that is very fortunate. But they'll take that any day. And Larry's just looking to get this kicked and hope for the best. And we have lost a player very quickly, and Stefan's returned very quickly. I don't know what happened there. I think we're back under starters orders. We're ready to go. Well, the natural path of the cue ball here, if he pots this one into the left middle, the cue ball's going to be running up towards that too. Not in a very favourable position unless he gets a bit of luck. Well, he's taken into the... or tried to take it into the top left and didn't get it, but he's again got the most important thing. He's got that bit of luck and got the cover in the one. And Chimpie thinks there's a space there to get through that 4 and 8. Now, was that clean? No, it wasn't. He caught the edge of the 8. And Boris has got ball in hand. Well, again, I don't know what he tried there. Did he just try the safety, or did he actually try the pot in the 1? But again, he's got the snooker. That's all that matters. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. We'll assume he played the snooker. One thing's for certain, this isn't going to be an easy rack to run unless that 4 and 8 are moved. Well, the 4's moved, Larry's missed a kick. But I wouldn't say the 4's in any more favourable position because it's now blocking the 8 and it's blocked by the 8 to the pocket. Now, Stefan is going to try and 3-foul Larry and Chimpie here. And that's a better safety. That's much better. I think Chimpie again isn't even going to so much as look at the kick shot. He's just going to try and resort to the jump cue again. He thinks that's the best way to get contact with the object ball. Well, he's got the kick. And he's also got away with it. That's the luck you need. And Boris has completely missed the edge of the 1. And could that be Blackjagged and Stefan's last mistake in this match? It's now ball in hand to Larry and Chimpie. A nice angle in the 2 just to come off the side rail and across for the 3 into the same pocket. But of course, probably nothing better than a combo in this 4 and 8 in a minute or 2. It's going to take a really good shot to get from the 3 in behind this 4 to take the 4 into the same pocket as the 3. So Larry's done the simple shot and left Chimpie a combo. This is something where again he's got to read the angle that he's hitting this 4 towards the 8 to make the cut. and get the 8 into the pocket. Well, he sort of rushed at that. I think he was glad to get the shot over, and he's not been fortunate this time. Stefan went for the bank when the cut was probably the easier shot, but it was the shot there, though. You'll notice he's got good position in the 5. What's Larry going to try? He's going to try cutting this into the right corner. Yes, he is. And that kiss in the 9 might have done him. Yep. And no shot here for Chimpie. So what does he do? This is very difficult to judge your safety because you're so close to the object ball. You're just going to try and push it to the side rail, I would think. Well, it might even try just cutting it to the side rail and back towards the 7. Well, he's went for the pot, and that was never on. But it doesn't matter because the 5's tied up with the 7, and they'll settle for that. That cue ball is tracking towards the pocket, I'm afraid. And definitely this time that could be the last mistake. And Larry, ball in hand, just needs to get that cue ball up the table as we look. I don't think that's the best way to do it, but he's preferring the roll through shot. Just push the 5 in, let the cue ball run past the 9. And he's overhit that by, at least 2 feet. And that's probably the worst shot Larry's played in this match. I mean, he's left a cut, but there's no way that anybody should be playing a cut shot along that rail from that angle. And this is a crucial shot in the rack. And Chimpie has let the shot clock run out. And that is an error. And that's gifted Blackjagged and Stefan the opportunity here. And that's, I never even get a chance to type that. It probably wasn't the right thing to do, but Stefan forgot he had ball in hand, and Larry's typed it, and Stefan isn't thinking, and that's thrown the match away, I think. And that's overrun again, and Larry's struggling with his control of the pace here. And there's still a glimmering light here for Boris and Stefan if they keep their concentration. And Chimpie's gone for a bank, it's not there, and although this is an awkward 7, Boris has to get this in. Oh, where's the cue ball going? He doesn't want to hook him behind that 9. Oh, Oh dear. Oh, that's disaster. And they're still debating in the chat about this shot clock error, and Stefan really needs to get his tournament head screwed on, because if somebody runs out the shot clock, that's their problem, not yours. Well, that's a great shot though, and that's now got Boris. Well, they only needed the 8 again. I still keep forgetting this handicap. So now we're hill. It's gone to a final rack decider. But again, no joy in the break. And this rack money's causing them problems. So I think the 2 does squeeze past the 4, and the cue ball's going to hit the 8, and that should hold him for the 3. Well, Chimpie didn't fancy it. Maybe it didn't go, but he's chosen the better option, playing the safety. But that's an easy jump shot here for Stefan. And judging by his last attempt with that jump, he might be successful in this one as well. Well, he's got the jump, and I would settle for that. That's in sort of no man's land. But Larry can cut this 2 to the left rail and send a 2 towards the 4 and get the cue ball up the table, and should be looking to get a snooker here. That would be the shot to play. Well, he's played it the other way, and that's not well thought out again, because he's not got the pace in the cue ball and he's left the 2 on. And there's an angle here for Blackjagged to cut the 2 and get the cue ball into those balls, but he's had too much pace in it. It spun it away from them, and he's scratched again. And this is what happens when you let the cue ball run and you don't have it under control. You're going to be running around, and it's bound to find a pocket at some point. So it's now ball in hand to Chimpie and Larry, and this rack's still not over, but he's going to take the opportunity here to try and split this 5 and 9, and this could go wrong, because you're relying on a bit of luck to still stay on the 4. But he's got it. And that's well played this time. Larry's got Chimpie on the 5, and there's just a slight angle to stun the 5 in and get the cue ball out for the 6. He'll probably draw it though. A little bit of draw spin to take the cue ball off the side rail and out. So now here's a crucial shot in the rack, getting this 6 in and getting onto that 7. Now the obvious simplest shot is just to take the cue ball off the side rail behind the 8 and down onto the bottom rail here for the 7 into the top pocket. But he's tried to get round it, and that again is a very poor thought out positional shot. He should have played the simplest shot and tried to be fancy, and it might lose them the match because Chimpie can only see the edge. And now that's the match to Blackjagged and Stefan, because they only need to pot the 7 and the 8. So this just needs to be a simple pace, get the cue ball off the rail and out, and not hook your partner behind the 9. Whatever you do, don't do that. And that's well played. And so Boris gets the winning ball, and Chimpie and Larry have only themselves to blame there. So Blackjagged and Stefan win the match somehow or other by 7 racks to 6.